Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to tackle about cultivable fish and crustacean species, this is a continuation of the report of Ms. Noble and Ms. Teves. Here comes and be ready to listen my discussion. In this lesson, we focus on species of fish, crustaceans, like crabs that can be raised or cultivated for food, trade, or research purposes. The first species is a swamp crab, or we can say Shella serrata. This is the species. It is easy to identify because of its shell pattern and shapes, and it has a shell smooth but ridge of strong, and there are distinct. Each mark is stomach, where its stomach is. For example, if this is a swamp crab, are often raised in a brackish water ponds, mix of fresh and salt water. So the farmers provide moldy bottoms for crabs to burrow and mangrove-like vegetation for shelter. Crabs are fed to diet of fish molecules and commercial crab feed to help them grow faster. And species is the mode crab, or we can say Sella paramotion. It is a large crabs often cultivated for food. Their color varies depending on environment of and age. They like shallow coastal waters with mangroves. Example of this, the mud crabs are commonly grown in coastal caves or mangroves plains. Farmers feed them pellet, small fish, or mussels. They are harvested when they reach the size, often for local market and export. Let's move to common cultivable lobsters species. The first is ornate spiny lobster, or Paneleros ornatus. It is a lobster that can reach up to 50 cm, but commonly around 30 to 35 cm. Found in shallow waters, sometimes slightly turbid or murky. So, in example, in aquaculture, farmers might raise ornate spiny lobsters in shallow coastal tanks or cage. They monitor water quality carefully because turbid waters can reduce survival. Hey, let's move to other valuable shellfish. The A is donkey abalone. It is a collected for shell and melt in Southeast Asia, found at 0 to 10 meter depth. They are common but do not form dense population. So the second one is B, the green mussels, Perna virides. It is economical important bivalve harvested from the wild. Shell has a sharp beak, smooth surface, and perforations used for attachment. Example of this is the green mussels are grown on rope suspended in coastal waters. Farmers check for predators and fouling organisms that might damage the moss. Let's move to common enemies of fish and crustaceans. These are the threats in aquaculture that reduce productivity. The first one is predators, animals that can eat cultured fish or crustaceans. Example of this is birds eating tilapia in pounds or crabs eating juvenile lobsters. And the second one is competitors, animals competing for food, space, and oxygen. Example is a wild fish or shrimp entering ponds eating the same feed. And the third one is nuisance, animals that damage food or habitat without eating the cultured species directly. So in summary, lobsters and shellfish have specific habitats and size that farmers most considered enemies in aquaculture are categorized as predators, competitors, and nuisance. Successfully aquaculture means controlling the streets are providing proper habitat. Right, let's move to characteristic of fish and crustaceans suitable for pond culture. It is a trait that can make them good candidates for raising in controlled environments like fish ponds. So the first is fish should be palatable and good tasting. The fish must have a taste that people like because the goal is often human consumption. This ensures that the product is marketable. Example of this is tilapia, has mild and slightly sweet taste, widely eaten. Shrimp, like Pacific white shrimp, dedicated flavor that is popular in many cuisines. And the second one is fish must be fast growers. Fish should grow quickly to harvest sooner and ideally allow multiple harvests per year. This increases productivity and income. Example is a catfish can grow to market size in 6 to 8 months. Tilapia reach harvest size in 6 months under good pond conditions. Fish should be resistant to pest, disease, and environmental changes. Pond-raised fish may face temperature, fractures, fluctuations, water salinity, changes, and disease outbreaks. Resistant species survive these conditions better. Example of this is tilapia, high tolerance of poor water conditions, mole crab, resistance to some environment, angles, and disease. The fourth one is fish should be universal feeders. Fish that eat is a wide range of food are easier and cheaper to raise. They can feed on natural pond food, algal, blancas, and supplement feeds. The fifth one is fish should have high market demand. Raising fish is an investment, so choosing species people want to buy ensures profit. Example of it, tilapia, milkfish, shrimp, catfish, consistently high market demand locally and internationally. The sixth one is fish should not be destructive and should be prolific. Fish should coexist with others in the pond without harming them and expand reproductive, often ensuring continuous stocks for harvest. For example of this is tilapia, reproduce quickly in ponds, allowing to continuous supply of fingers. Catfish grows well without destroying pond habitats. In summary, the ideal pond culture fish or crustacean should be tasty, fast-growing, hardy, easy to feed, in demand, and non-constructive. Examples like tilapia, catfish, milkfish, and Pacific white shrimp are commonly used in pond farming worldwide.